I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all of our global listeners.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended. Because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelley McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil Cavey Jr., sitting alongside the one and only, the HVAC millionaire, Kelley motherfucking McKay. What's up, my man?
Yeah, boy. Where'd that yo come from?
I don't know, man. I guess never mind. I'm going to keep that to myself.
Right.
I was getting ready to say something that might have got me in trouble.
Gotcha. Don't want to do that.
It was a YouTube video that was had rap music, so I got my inner gangster in me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Gotcha.
I was throwing up gang signs and shit. But what's up, man? Glad to be back. I know we missed a week, and some of you, you know what? Don't get your panties in a bunch. Fucking messaging me like, "What happened last week?" I don't know what happened last week. Okay, we didn't get a podcast out. Relax. Just so some of you know, so we don't forget it. We had some issues with the Facebook group. We're not sure what's happening, whether that group's going to come back up. We're hoping that we're just going to be down for 30 days and then be reinstated. We'll see. If not, just for shits and giggles, search HVAC Uncensored Nation again. You will see the new group and go ahead and join that group just in case. So if you could do that, that would be great. Anyway, we have a guest, but real fast. What is going on with you? Everything good?
Everything's good. We woke up to snow yesterday morning.
Sucks.
Which sucked. And we had a high of like 37, turned to rain, then dried up. But the main thing is just, we had PM scheduled, had to reschedule all those. There just was no sense in getting out in the snow to do cleaning checks. But other than that, man, I'm excited about adding a comfort advisor that he's very familiar with sales, but he's never done HVAC before. So we are building a curriculum. I'm sure there's I probably have access to some training for building a comfort advisor, but we're going to build our own. So that's nice. Beginning. And I'm excited about that just because we've never had one before. We just always had selling techs. So, but we're going to use him to run cold leads. And we've got some young technicians that are getting vehicles that we just moved them into vehicles. So we'll have those guys turn those leads over. So I'm excited about it, man.
Nice. Good for you, man. Good for you. Obviously, me and the guest tonight will be going to California next week to see Mr. Victor Rancourt. Hopefully learn some gold out there and come back and use that in our business to be able to really kick ass this summer. Yeah. But I guess moving into that, guys, our guest tonight is someone who's been on the show quite a few times. You guys know him. He's my friend, my partner, my boss, the big guy, the man who signs the checks, the owner of Beltway, which I am very blessed to be at, Mr. Ryan Grimes.
How's it going, guys?
Same old shit.
Hell of an introduction too, man.
Yeah,
I was going to say, right. I was going to say, Gil's owner, Mr. Ryan Grimes.
Gil's owner, yeah, man. Listen to that shit.
Yeah, Turk used to always give me shit. He's like, what are you? What is this, slavery? Are you a slave?
Yeah,
he's your owner? I'm like, you know what I mean. Shut up. Used to be so funny.
Well, I don't know if I've even heard that in the last couple podcasts. So.
Yeah, see, I've done better. See, I don't feel like
he's
a
been
slave
breaking
anymore.
the habit of that.
Yeah. I haven't heard in a long time.
That's because my slavery stopped when I left. Never mind. I don't want to get sued.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just going to leave that
anyway. The butterflies outside today are great. It's not snowing here, so that's a thing.
Yeah, I wore a romper to work yesterday, dude. So it was good.
Yeah, it was some sexual harassment day of all days.
Yeah, I was like, this is what you can't do. You know?
Yeah, fucking bulge was coming out. I was like, kill.
But see, people noticed. People noticed the bulge. That's a good thing when people notice it.
Yeah.
Are you happy to see me? No, that's normal.
Yeah. You thought he bought a leotard, you bought a romper.
My wife just asked me, she's like, hey, what's your fax number? I'm like, it's 2021. We don't have a fucking fax number. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll put it on a floppy disk for you.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, we talked about. Yeah. Go ahead. I was going to
say, what are you boys up to? What's new at Beltway?
We've been doing a lot, man. I'll let Ryan go, but I think that we've assembled a pretty rock star. We already had a pretty rock star team. We had a few weak pieces that we had to move on from, but well, I think we picked up some really good pieces that I'm feeling really, really excited going into the summer. I mean, I'll let you speak on your behalf, Ryan.
Oh yeah. I'm really excited about the summer because every summer before this one, I was just like, oh yeah, this person's going to make me do this. And inevitably, like they dropped the ball exactly the way I think they were going to, and then I would pick it up. But like going into this summer, I'm just like, everybody on this freaking team is a freaking rock star. So I think it's going to work out really well. And I think we could probably do more than what we actually are, but fuck it. I'm happy with what we got. Gil's super good with quality control and like making a level of excellence. So, yeah, I think we're just going to refine what we got, make it a well-oiled machine and kind of grow from there.
Yeah. So one thing is, me and Kelley had a conversation today and we were talking about, how some people want to do things, the culture in the business being different as far as, people going to work and stuff like that. And I said, one thing that I love that we've done here is the culture. And I know we already had a podcast on culture, but just what we've created here about doing things different, that people want to come to work, where a lot of technicians, they want to make money, but they don't want to be salesmen, but if you just teach them how to be thorough and see what they can make and benefit from being thorough, how we've implemented it here, the technicians can make so much money for doing the right thing. And the little things we do as far as like, and this is Ryan, not me, how we have, the company fun days, like going paintballing and fishing or whatever it is, some of the things Ryan's done over the years. And I think that kind of stuff's awesome to create that different culture where it's not, especially me coming from places where they were great businesses, but it wasn't fun to be at work.
Right.
And now it's fun. Like, have you ever heard, what spike ball is?
Spike ball? I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. I didn't know what it was till I met him. And now we have spike ball tournaments in the office. Guys come in to like get tickets and stuff. And Ryan's like, we got 4 people, drop your shit. Let's go. Yeah. It's a little like circled net with a little ball. And it's like, what'd you say? It's like reverse volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah. You smack the ball in the net and you can only hit it so many times, but we've had some pretty thorough games there so far. Games. Yeah.
Yeah. Gil hits it to Steve every time, but it's fun.
Yeah. He picked a shitty partner, so we took advantage of it. So I kept hitting it to that guy knowing that he didn't know what he was doing. But,
well, the KVs are all talented in their sports and whatnot. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Watching him and playing football with him and his son, they're just like, we're in a church, we're playing church football, and him and his son are just like flinging the ball like 30, 40 yards like it's nothing. And we're like, we're a church, bro. Calm your ass down.
Just saying we won. We're even keeping score, but I think we won. Just
yeah. But going on the culture thing, man, I mean, I love just dropping work for a minute and playing, 30 minutes of spike ball. That's going to go a far way. And then just systems create culture, right? Or processes create culture, as we like to say at the HVAC Uncensored.
Yes, processes and systems.
Same fucking thing.
I wrote processes on my big whiteboard in my office. He came in there and erased it and wrote systems real big that I can't even get off the fucking board. I got to bleach it off because he wrote it so hard.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. So I planned out Q1, Q2, Q3, and 4 of everything we're going to do. So we're going to go paintballing. We're going to do, and somewhere like paintballing is company wide. Bowling's going to be company wide. We're going to have a dinner. That's just the company. We're going to go to a smash room in October. It's going to be great.
Is that like an orgy?
A smash room. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah. It's in Glen Burnie, bro.
Oh, it's local. Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally like in some dude's basement. And he gives you a baseball bat and a bunch of windows and go to town.
That's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm talking about.
So that's going to be fun.
Well, before we get too far off topic, which I always do.
Yes. I'm sorry. I went on that.
No, I one that took us there. I want to talk to both of you. So how old were you when you first started your business, Kelley?
32.
Well, and to me, I think that's still a younger business owner. And Ryan, when Beltway first started, so you were what, like 13? I'm just kidding. You were what, like 22? Was that what you were?
22, 23, in that range. Yep.
Yeah. So we get a lot of messages and people ask me, and especially when they know now that I'm at Beltway, they talk about, people are scared to make that jump. They don't, you never know, is this enough? Did I do enough? But people always ask, like, how did Ryan do it being so young? And I said, well, rather than me answer that question, why don't we let Ryan answer his own question? So how was it you being so young, making that jump into ownership?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can go into the long-winded story of my story if you're cool with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. So, I'm a big fan of you make your mess your message. And the biggest thing with who I am today is just the message of my mess. And what that looks like for me is when I was younger, I was surrounded by drug addiction, alcoholism, abuse, and everything. So if I learned how a fucking air conditioner worked, I could get the hell out of my house. All right. And I didn't. And the reason why I say all that kind of stuff is because I didn't anticipate being where I am today. I didn't anticipate like, I'm going to start my own business, or my boss, pissed me off and I told him, fuck you, I'm going to take everything from you. Like, none of that happened. It was just an opportunity that came across to me, and basically went through the story of, okay, I'm 18. I know how an air conditioner works. I'm a pretty decent technician as far as service or install. I can do anything, go anywhere at 18. At 18, I was good to go. And then I kind of worked in my career a little bit. And then I got into a sales position. In that sales position, they didn't pay me my commission because I was still in training pay or whatever. And a friend of mine was like, hey, man, I have 50 air conditioners and 50 water heaters to replace in Section 8. You have to do both for $3,000. And I was like, holy shit, that's $500 on top of the equipment cost. I'm going to be a millionaire.
He was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. I thought I was going to make out well, and I got just enough money to pay off my bills that I got behind on the last 2-3 months, and to buy 2 vans. And I was just like, fuck it, man, we're going to go for it. And I got in 2 vans. At the time, I worked under someone else's license, and that's perfectly legal in Maryland. You just got to get through some hoops and whatever. And I was off to the races, just me and another dude. And that's how it kind of all started. But before that, 6 years ago, I started Beltway Blacktop. And that was my first company. So my first company, I was the most YouTube certified motherfucker you've ever met. Like I went on YouTube, I figured out how blacktops work, how seal coat and asphalt worked. And I started a fucking asphalt and tar company. And I just,
you have a lot of shitty parking lots around here.
And that was my first business. So this is my second business. My first one obviously didn't do the best, or I'd still be doing it, I guess. And that's how I got where I am, man. What was the question again?
I forget. But and another thing, just so people know, Ryan also carries, what do you have, 4 master's license now? So you have what, Maryland, Delaware, DC, and...
Yeah, I'm working on Virginia right now, and then I have my Maryland contractor's license and Maryland salesman license too.
Yeah, so I mean, Ryan carries a few licenses, so I mean, he's worked his ass off to get what he is. But let's hear your story, Kelley. So when you first, I mean, some people have already heard it, but for the sake of this podcast, when you first started, I guess talk about how you finally made the push.
I was actually writing. There was a guy that we hired. I was working for a company, a guy that we hired, and he was like, "Man, you got your master's license?" Because I had actually went to a class, like a 4-month class, to get the information I needed, because I never went to school for this. I, basically just learned everything on the job, and he was like, "Man, you got your master's license? Why don't you start your own business?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." But that just, for some reason, that just sat, and it just, just continued to just cook inside of my brain. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try this. And so my grandpa had passed away. My dad had gotten a check, but split between all the kids, and it was $10,000 because they sold his house. So they sold this house. He got his check for $10,000, and he literally just signed that over to me and told me, "I just want you to have the chance." And 3 months later, my dad was gone, passed away, and then let the misery ensue for the next 5 years, I would say. Absolutely miserable, just working my ass, working my fingers to the bone, and working 70-hour weeks, never seeing my family. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. I literally copied the business model that I had been working for previously, because they were another small company, mom and pop shop. I literally copied what they were doing, charged exactly what they were charging, and started losing. I didn't realize that they were losing. So I had never worked for a bigger company to see how things work in a well-oiled machine. And so, yeah,
that's normally what we do, though.
What's that?
That's normally what we do, though. When you move on, you do what your past experiences.
Yeah.
That's why you like to hope, a lot of you guys out there that want to start your own business and you're not really in a management position, or you don't really know the numbers or what's going on at your company, don't assume things, because trust me, you'll be wrong. As much as we've heard on this podcast and people come in here, talk about things, you assume a lot of these owners are, they're rich and they're going home and they're counting their money. I mean, that's the farthest thing from the truth. So don't assume that. Most of these people, a lot of the owners that we talk to, they come on here and they say they didn't start a business to make money. Some of them that were good technicians would have stayed being technicians if it was about the money.
I can tell you that just from what you're talking about, Ryan, like Ryan's a driven individual. Without question, that dude is driven. If he's got those 4 licenses, he started a business, like look at all, and he's also got the guts to take that risk. That is not normal. Like it took me 4 or 5 years to get out of my funk of just being a technician that happened to own a company, to get my shit together and put my foot down and say, I'm not going to do this shit anymore. It's going to change. And that's when my true, like, I would say just 2 years into it is when I started actually learning. But it took me, by then I had already dug such a deep hole that it took me several years to get out of that hole. And there's just so much to learn. Gil and I were talking earlier today, and this is a complicated business. It is complicated. There are a lot of moving parts. It is not easy. So kudos to Ryan. And because but when you see some things on social media and you see things on YouTube or whatever, and I know Gil and I have always done our best to not paint this false version of what this is. It's not that it can't be something great. And this is why, I guarantee Ryan's a visionary. I'm a visionary. Gil has some visionary in him too. You see a vision. You have a vision of what it can be, what it will be, and what you're going to have to do to get there. But it's not something that most people have. I'm just going to be flat out fucking honest here. Most people, the going's going to get hard. You're going to have to make hard damn decisions, gut wrenching decisions. You're going to have to work your ass off. Like Ryan's still at the office tonight. We record late at night. Ryan's still at his office because he's grinding. He's getting shit done. And that's what it takes. And most people don't want to do that. Most people want to have that work-life balance. And I believe that when you're growing a business, there's no such thing.
Not in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when my wife and I, our first year of marriage, she was like, yeah, I don't even remember living over on Anderson Avenue because you were never home.
Never.
And even like guys, like speaking to the listeners of the podcast, like you might be sitting there thinking, I can put in those hours. Man, fuck, I work 1 o'clock in the morning for the technician, for my boss now. But here's the thing, man. You worked until 1 o'clock in the morning because those calls were given to you. It's a whole nother ballpark when those calls are calling you, when you are scheduling them, when you have to go back because it's your reputation on the line, right? That's when it gets tough. Not, I can work until my fingers bleed. Everybody can do that. It's that mental piece that will really fuck you up. And it's making those decisions like a tangible, like that hardness of something. A tangible example is, I don't know, a year in, my rent was $1,400 where I was living. And I told my wife I didn't have $1,400, but I just spent $10,000 that day buying equipment and processing payroll. But I didn't have $1,400 left over to pay rent. And that's when it gets fucking confusing, weird, and, it gets homosexual real quick.
Yeah. Well, it starts to make you realize, what am I doing this for? And I do realize, and knowing like you guys and other people, that in the beginning, you do have to keep putting it back in the business. You can't put it in your pocket and stuff like that. But people who do that the right way, the ones who take that hit and they're not selfish are the ones that are successful. The ones that start a company and they're like, I'm making $200,000 this year. I don't care what everybody else does. It's like, well, okay, you don't even know what you're going to make this year. So how do you know you can even pay yourself $200,000? You know what I mean? Like, where are you pulling these numbers from? People think, I'm going to start a company because I want to raise. But you're going to make probably half of what you made being a technician. So it's not about the money. So if you guys are out there and you're thinking that you're going to leave where you were and start your own company and it's all about the money, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And you can be the best fucking tech in the world. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good business owner. It's two totally different skill sets. And you know what? When you guys are talking about licenses, I'm going to say something that probably a lot of people don't know to me, that I probably haven't admitted this to a lot of people. When I was Ryan age, I was probably 25, 26. is when my father helped me take the test to get a master's license in the state of Maryland. A lot of people know that I had a drug addiction. Well, when I had a drug addiction, I was renting my license to 7 different people. I never had a contract and I got caught. I had to go to court. Thank God my grandmother was still alive, had to pay a lot of money for me not to get in trouble, which is why I don't have a license anymore. So, you know, and that was my plan to do what Ryan was doing. I was going to start a company, blah, blah, blah. Drugs got in the way. And I was almost going to be told that I could never practice, that I could never legally do HVAC again in the state of Maryland. Thank God I had a very, very good lawyer. So, and I say that, you guys know that I'm honest with you. This is something that I probably haven't said, but it's, you know, it is what it is. You know, I've made a lot of stupid fucking decisions and I spend every day trying to right those wrongs, but be careful, you guys, with some of the decisions that you make. With some of the things that you do, I've made a lot of stupid ones and it's very, very hard to come back from some of those. Thank God, after I've been straight, I've been able to do a lot of good things, to have other opportunities, but a lot of people who make those dumb decisions don't get some of the opportunities that I've been blessed to have. So just be careful out there.
I didn't know that. All right. Well,
yeah, that's not.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. He hadn't shared that with me either.
And to be honest, because
you just dropped a fucking iced tea or Long Island, where the fuck it is.
That's because it's embarrassing, you know? And that's just something that I never, ever wanted to share. Like, I remember my dad, you know, because he was my boss, so he filled out like the thing for me to be able to, you know, take everything. And but that's something that I will get again. Just, I mean, do I need it? No, but do I want it? I just want to prove to myself and do it again, you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah, nah, it was perfect timing for us because the time I got my master license, they already kicked the guy that I was renting the license from out of Baltimore. And they were going to kick him out of Maryland next. And it was like, well, fuck, if I was like, if I don't pass this test, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So I had a lot of pressure on me to pass.
Took me three times just to get my journeyman's license. Cause back then cause this is like 1999, cause I got in the business in 1996 and, it was only the block test, which was a much harder test than the, the ICC exam, I think it's called now. It's just a different test. So, their test is only the test that my guys take just to get their journeyman's license, 50 questions done on the computer. Ours was like handwritten, 6 hours with 7 books. Theirs is with 3 books. So really hard test.
Yeah, the Maryland master test was 10 times harder than the DC master. Yeah, because you can reciprocate from DC to Maryland, but not Maryland DC. I think. DC test was a breeze.
Yeah, well, that's why, and it's weird that some places you can reciprocate to Maryland, but not vice versa. That's why years ago when I was at Michael and Son, since they're all up in Virginia too, they would get a lot of those guys to go take the test in Virginia, and then Virginia would reciprocate to DC and Maryland. So you got that one. You would now have 3 master's license.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite fucking way.
Yeah, so what?
It's fucking gay.
Well, it's funny, whatever. Delaware, you don't even take a test. They just have a board.
Yeah,
that they just look over your application like, he looks good, you know?
Yeah. Doesn't look like a piece of shit on paper, so sure.
Yeah.
One thing that I'll say about some of the like explosive growth that you see some of these companies going through is those dudes or those gals, those guys or gals who are running those companies who are just growing like insane amounts. Like there is a certain level of uncertainty that you have to be comfortable with to do that, because the amount of debt that they take, they're like, they over leverage themselves to gain that revenue. And that's a scary thing too. Like, you've got to be able to handle that risk. You know, if you're going to make some of those leaps, it's really no different than taking that first leap out on your own. That is a risk. That's a leap. Like, you don't know where your next paycheck's going to come from. But once they get in there and they learn a few things, and if they started off with great credit and then they get a line of credit and then they go to town, man. And me personally, I'm more about slow and steady. Like, I want it. There's been several times during the business where it was really tough to manage because we were growing really fast and we had a bunch of just a shit ton of work. And we were all working till 9 o'clock at night all summer long, just insanity. But those just came in waves. It's not like that every year. So we grow a bunch, and then the next year it wasn't so much, but then we would learn the next thing. You know, I'd be searching, reading, joining the best practices organizations, trying to figure out what that next thing is so we could make that next level in growth. And I don't know, that level of uncertainty though, when it comes to, you know, borrowing $500, $600, $800, $1 million, like it takes guts.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at. It's like, Gail and I were talking, we're like, we could totally easily throw on another install crew and at least one more service tech, maybe even two. But I have it in my office over there. And it says patience is better than pride. It's out of Ecclesiastes, but I'm real big on that. And I have it hung up on my offices because it is better to be patient and have that slow, steady growth than to have pride to say, oh, look at me, what I've done. Not to say, not to go against the guys that have pulled that big risk. And hell, yeah, man, good for them. That's awesome. But pulling that big risk and doing those types of things, I mean, to me, I'm huge. I'm super big on you are not guaranteed tomorrow. And for me, I'm never putting myself in a position to where if I pulled out on Route 1, a tractor trailer hit me and I died, that my wife, I would be in so much debt that, it wouldn't be good for my wife. I want to leave something behind for my family if I die right now on the way home. And I understand.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
I recently just took out, I went and got my all the med stuff. This was like towards the end of last year. And so I bought a nice insurance policy. So if anything happens to me, like my family's taken care of, way more than our piddly $50,000 that we did have. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, because I want the debt to be taken care of and my family to be taken care of. And I agree 100%, Ryan. Like, tomorrow is not promised, period. I may not wake up tonight. You don't know. You just don't know. So,
yeah. And I have a group of Avengers, man. I got people like Gil, Dave, Amanda. I mean, I got some, in my opinion, some of the best people in the industry working here.
Yep.
But, I totally could. If I died tomorrow, I'm so confident that they would be able to run this thing probably better than them without me. But at the same time, I cannot take that risk of just getting in too much debt. Hey, let's just throw some fucking rebar in this concrete and then build off that foundation. Patience better than pride. So fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, plus, and whenever we try to set goals, or whenever I've been taught to set goals, you want them to be it's a waste of time to just set these goals that are like, they're so high that they're unattainable, but it sounds good that I'm going like, we're going to go from 2 million to $946 million in a summer, like it doesn't make sense. And we have such a good foundation here I mean, and Ryan knows this. Ryan was making money and double and tripling revenue when so many things were being done wrong. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And little things have been fixed, which that's already going to guarantee that we're going to make more revenue. Now we have systems in place that are going to guarantee we're going to make more revenue. We have a rock star team in place that we're going to make, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
you know, and now we've got out that people are like, damn, Beltway's like, damn, they treat their people like this. Where I got people like reaching out to us, like, I'd love to come in for an interview. And it's like, nah, we're good, man. You know, like we want it to be where you have to try out to be part of this team. You know, like we don't just accept, you know, take an application and we hire you. Like it's a privilege to be a part of this team. And that's the way it's going to be moving forward. We don't just take any swinging dick off the street.
But take that application though. Just take the application.
I have to.
Because you don't know down the road. I mean, you're still going to do your due diligence before you bring them on your team. You don't want to bring some C player on your team and ruin the whole batch, you know, with some negative bullshit. But keep that application.
Yeah, but you know, trust me, dude, I've been around here in this area specifically for a long time.
Yeah.
That if things plan out the way that we're going to go, we'll have no problem getting people to come here.
Nice.
I've always thought that. Good. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I've always thought that, man, like they're like, there's a technician shortage. And like, bro, like, sure. When you're getting up to 20, 30, $40 million company, sure. Yeah, no shit. You can't find 50 employees. Okay. But guys like us that are handling, you know, 12, 15, 18, whatever it is, you know, that's not that hard to find that many guys that are good within your area. And just like, let word get around, let the culture get around that, like, this is where you need to be. But I will tell you one thing. The guy that we let go not too long ago, man, if I ride with a dude again, Gil, and I'm just not jiving with them, I'm just going to text you and be like, hey, we're going to drive to the shop and you can drive.
Well, and sadly, your intuition was correct. So you probably should have done that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's,
I'm big on like the chemistry part, you know, of your teams, the 3 C's of hiring, and chemistry is one of the C's. I'm big on that. And I just hit me in the face. You know, if you ride with day one on the boss and I'm like, hey man, can you get up that ladder? And you go, yeah, maybe you don't.
No, not gonna stay. Not gonna make it.
You first hire normally that's why it's the 90 days. Cause for the first month or two, they're putting on that show. Like, yeah, boss, whatever you need, man. You know, and then day 91 starts and they're like, fuck you, motherfucker, you know, but they at least come and they put their best foot forward. This guy, like day one was like, and
yeah, my shit doesn't stink.
Yeah.
Like,
and the sad part is this person is totally different than the person that I remember, which it was hard because I was like, you know, but sometimes you're wrong. To be honest, it's better off that we realized we were wrong. Whatever happened. That person's no longer here, and it's just better off moving forward because it was going to be a bad situation, you know. So the sooner you realize that, you know, don't ever let employees hold you hostage for any reason. If it's not working, it's not working. So don't make an excuse and say, oh well, we'll just let them do this, or, you know, well, we don't want to let them go because of this. No, if they don't fit, they don't fit. So get rid of them. The sooner, the better. You'll figure out a way. Okay. With the people that are actually bought into your system, to your team. So the way that exit happened was actually a godsend when you think about it. So, and it saved some moolah.
Oh yeah. I love it. I love it when I love that he quit. I love that he quit because it's like, you know, you don't fit here. Because of the level of excellence that we have. And I'm not saying our shit doesn't stink. Like, we fuck up so much, and that's we're not.
Everybody does. That makes no difference.
Yeah, we're not whatever, but it is a it is a family, man. And if you don't belong, you don't belong. And that family is hard working as shit. So
well, and the best part isn't even that he left. It's that when he left, he tried to steal one of our employees, and our employee laughed at him. Like, I don't even know you, motherfucker.
Give you more money than Beltway, and then he was like, "Fuck you, man."
Yeah, he's like, I don't even know you like that. Stop calling me. So that's the best part.
Yeah. All right, back to being young.
Yeah, back to being young. Talking about business. So I guess we'll say, I'll ask both of you this question since we'll go with Ryan since you're the guest. When you first started, what was the 3 biggest struggles? I know you probably had more, less, whatever, but what would be the 3 or top biggest struggles that you had that you would tell someone else trying to be in your position?
Confidence, humility, and cash flow.
Those are good ones.
Yeah. I mean, good.
I was going to say, but I think one good story for you to share is the story that you share about Dave, about the situation when it was just you and Dave and how he's still here.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the story. I'll let you say it.
Yeah. I don't know why Dave has been with me pretty much since day one. He was my second hire. And dude, there's times Dave's a badass installer. He's just a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
And have a genuinely good person who actually gives a shit about, the future of the company and all that from the beginning is a big deal. And dude, there's been times where I said, Dave, I can't pay you this Friday, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to pay you. And he said, that's fine, man. Just keep me updated and let me know. And it was like, what? And Dave stuck around, and that was a big deal. And I didn't have anything to offer. He was a 1099 contractor, no benefits, no nothing. It was just like, we're fucking winging it, bro. And he stuck around. It was a big deal.
Yeah, that's huge. Not to mention Dave's also a rock star, like legit rock star.
Yeah, check his band out. I'm
going to play some of their music. He's actually given me the okay to play some of their stuff on the podcast. What is it again? Rise Amongst Rivals?
Yeah, Rise Among Rivals, yeah.
Yeah.
He's good as shit, dude. I love going to his shows. They're really good.
Yeah. There's
the plug.
Yeah, if you listen to his music, you would hear this on like a rock station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Kelley, you
3 biggest struggles.
Yeah.
I guess you would call it cash flow. That was my number 1, which would be making sure that my pricing was right. That was a major one. And then because of my lack of bookkeeping when I started also, it was hard just to find a CPA that would take me because my books were all fucked up. I mean, I was behind and they were all jacked up, and finally got somebody to like take my case and then deal with the IRS for me because I got in IRS trouble over that stuff not being finished. And then besides for that, when you are the only one in the truck and you're like, you always put the customer first, like Ryan was talking about, like I would get home maybe at 7:00, get home early one night. And like, as soon as I shut my truck off, my phone rings. Oh, it's Dairy Queen here in town. They don't have any cooling. All right, I'll be right there. I'd run inside, give my wife a kiss, say, I got to go do a call. I'm sorry. Jump back in the truck. I always put the customer first. But as you start adding people, this is why it's so important to add the right people, is to make sure to maintain, because if you provide that type of service, you're an A player. And we've talked about A, B, and C players. Well, you're an A player if you provide that type of service and you just love your customers. You always do the right thing. not everybody is going to have those same standards.
No.
And they could be really good people, like your buddies, and you love them, and they just don't have the same standards. And so one of the biggest struggles for me was to put my foot down and not accept anything less than what our customers deserved, which was a hard thing to do. And because it's hard not to it gets personal. Just like Ryan said, like, I disagree. And I know you'll probably take this the wrong way, but I don't really care. But I love the family culture. I love that whole thing. But one of my mentors is, I call him a mentor. He doesn't mentor me personally, but I've got lots of mentors, that I follow and I watch, and I'm taking a class of his. And he said, all families are inherently what is it when families don't get along always?
Chaotic?
No, not chaotic. Dysfunctional. All families are inherently dysfunctional. Period. And that's the problem with being a family culture, is that you love these people so much that just like you love your aunts and your uncles, or your mom or your brother or your sister, they can say whatever they want. They can be the biggest asshole, but yet they're still allowed to sit at the Thanksgiving dinner table because they're family. And so that's the difference between family and business, is there has to be some type of separation, because otherwise you get dysfunction. And because they're family, you fucking put up with it, because you always got a seat at the table for Aunt Rita, who's a fucking bitch.
I'll agree with what you're saying. And maybe the family analogy was, not the right one, but the thing that me and Ryan are trying to build, and what he's trying to build, is the thing that your employees know that you give a fuck about them.
100%. So I agree with all of that. Yes.
So there's a hierarchy. They know their place. We know that the system is set and what everybody has to do and what's expected of them. And we make sure that they know that on a daily basis. If I'm not calling them, Ryan's called them. Hey, do you need anything? You good? They know what we expect of them. But at the same time, they know that we care more about them than that customer's wallet. That we're only going to give them so many calls. If they call, and I've had this before, 1:00 in the morning, I call my boss and say, I can't keep my eyes open. I can't work anymore. Oh, well, just pull over at the gas station and just take a 15-minute break.
No, it's go
None
home.
of our employees will ever fucking call us to ever even have that conversation, because it'll never get to that point, where people wake up and want to come to work. How many times have you worked for places where you wake up because you have to, you have bills to pay, you have to make money, but you don't necessarily want to work at that place? So that's what we've created, where everybody comes in with a smile on their face, likes to come to work. Do they still have bad days? Yeah, there's some days they're going to be like, man, what the fuck is Gil talking about? Whatever, that's fine. That's normal. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Everything you're saying. I totally agree. I made the mistake of crossing those lines to where they could treat me however they wanted to, and they were still invited to come to work every day. And I just got to a point where I wasn't going to do that. So when I hear people say it's a family, we're family, I immediately think of that when that in that training class, when he said that, he's like, all families are inherently dysfunctional. And so
you're right, though.
Yeah.
And there's two sides of that. So, that's why you have to treat people the way you want to be treated, but also make sure that people know what you expect of them.
Yes.
And that you're still the boss. I mean, and how you portray and how you lead your team. I love when they say, a leader, should recruit, train, and motivate. So that's, as long as you're doing your position, you can have the fun part, as long as you're doing all the other things right.
And we have a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, and I love my team just like their family. It's not that, but I've myself personally, like I've drawn a line. Like we have to get these results. Yeah, it's going to be a fun place to work. You're going to grow here and we're going to pour into you and we're going to love you. But we also have to produce results. That's all. And we can't be getting an attitude or big egos. Cause that's another thing that I've dealt with as we've become more successful. Some of the more successful technicians tend to grow egos. And then all of a sudden now it's okay for them to make that little remark to the dispatcher, or it's okay for them to, get an attitude anytime they get tired. And it's like, no, this is not okay. We have to maintain.
How do you know that guy that works for us?
Yeah.
No.
Nobody ever goes through these problems, right? I mean,
yeah. No. And sometimes, to be honest, like the same way that I say I treat my son when he does something really good and I try to bring him back down, even though that I'm happy for him and I want to share in his successes, I try to bring him back down. You got to do that with technicians too. Like, we had a technician who Ryan knows, like he didn't know dick about sales. Like I literally just had a few conversations with him. All I did was open his mind. He is responsible for his success, not me. I just opened his mind up, taught him a few things. He took it and ran with it. He's only scratching the surface, but head got big and had to realize, like, hey man, you're doing awesome, taking nothing away from you, but don't be satisfied because you can do so much more, man. And now we got some killers in here and he knows that. So he knows that it's going to be more of a fight for that number one spot, but it always also want to make sure that is a friendly competition to drive each other. Cause some places that shit gets downright,
That it should be driving.
Yeah, I'm very big on I'm very big on no service versus install or dispatch versus service. I'm shutting that shit down right away because I came from a culture like that and that shit sucked. And that's part of the reason why I started. That's part of the reason why I loved, like, I really wanted to go with this thing. Like the motivation to keep going was like, I really want to create a company that I want to come back to work to. And like, why, like people are like, oh, you can't do that. Well, why? Why not? Why can't I start whenever I want? If I get all my calls done, why does it matter my start time? You say that and the one dude shows up at 10:30. You're like, whoa, bro. Yeah. I mean, 9 o'clock's the latest, These millennials out here. But
I'm not talking noon, motherfucker.
But in the regards of the family stuff and Kelley, I think all that is really great stuff. I think that line in the sand that you said you drew, or you said something along those lines, is you found your own self-worth, right? Because you have to have 100%. Your own self. Yeah, you have to have your own self-worth to not get walked on by the guy who's selling a lot and is getting cocky and made that remark to that dispatcher. You have to have your own self-worth to say, yo, bro, that's not going to happen. I don't care how good you think you are.
Right. And for me, I ditched the fear. I didn't care. Like, I just knew we weren't going to continue like that. So I didn't care if, hey, you want to make a decision to leave here? Because I feel the same way Ryan does, as far as our company is somewhere that I would love to have worked when I was coming up and when I was learning and as a technician or like I would have loved to have worked for a company like mine. So,
well, I hate to say this and not to speak out of context, Kelley, but just from knowing you and having the conversations we had, I think some of your employees don't realize what they have.
Some of them have not worked other places at all.
Yeah, they don't realize, because Kelley has literally paid, I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars as far as trainings and different things to give his guys all the tools to be necessary. But somehow they would, not all of them. And I don't know these guys, so I don't want to speak.
And we've done, I just sat down and asked the guys a while back towards the first of the year, like, how much training would you say that we did last year? And on average, everybody answered about 150. They guessed about 150 hours of training. So I never got that anywhere I worked before. So I know that we are pouring into them, and I'm constantly bringing, I don't know. I'm just doing the best I can as I've learned and grown and paid a lot of money to learn those things. And it's a place that I would have liked to have worked for sure.
Yeah, Dave's old helper was a friend of mine from high school, and it was like Dave was like, bro, it is not going to be better anywhere else. I promise you that. And he thought the grass was greener on the other side, and boom, it hit him like a fucking hot ton of bricks, man. Yep. We didn't, that was back in the day. We didn't have a shop. Now he's got to be at the shop at 7 a.m. every morning, as opposed to being on the job at 9 a.m. You know what I mean? My younger guys like to start around 9. I had a really older guy that liked to start at 7:30 a.m. I don't give a fuck when you start, man. The window's there. Who cares? Not 10:30.
Right.
Yeah, he liked to start early but stay up all night.
Yeah. That's why it's not here anymore.
Yeah.
But the level of excellence raises, as we go on. I'm a very big fan, So one of the things I talked about, like being young and like the confidence piece, like I was totally cool with gaining a lot of weight so I looked older, because I had to deal with that with customers. Like they're like, how old are you? You know how many times I probably would get that 4 times a day at least. You know what I mean?
Who are you even talking? Look at me. I'm 44 years old. I look like a fucking baby at 32 years old.
I'm 38. Yeah. I look like I'm 55.
Fucking baby. So. I mean, this was every single day in the field. How old are you? It was always the women. How old are you? Or no, that's not what they say. They say, how long you been doing this?
Yeah, how long you been doing this? I love that, because that's not the question is not how long have you been doing this? The question is, how much credibility do you have? Right. So I learned how to make these dumbass pamphlets, you know what I mean? And throwing these in people's face and the reviews. And that's just credibility. That's all that is.
Yeah.
So
I would just, once I got diagnosed the system, then I would just throw a bunch of technical terms, just lay it on them. And they're like, oh, okay, sounds good. And then from then on, I'd have no problems.
I remember when I first got here, it was still in the early stages. The customer Schultz, that we were out there walking around, and he kept talking to me, and I was like, this is Ryan. I was like, this is the owner. And he made some kind of comment, and he was like, man, if it wasn't for those few little gray hairs, you look like you're like 25, 26. And me and Ryan are walking away laughing, and Ryan's like, I am 26. It was funny as hell.
And then the one time we were getting that beef techie or whatever at that sub shop, and the old man came by and was like, yeah, it must be nice your boss is taking you out, huh, son? And I was like, yep, he's a great boss.
Yeah, and I'm putting the card on the table, and it's got my name, but it's his bank account.
So we go through that too, because my general manager, he's like 64. And so anybody who comes in the shop, they immediately go to him like he's the owner, and he's always like, oh, here's Kelley, he's the owner. And I'm like, but I'm used to it. Don't bother me.
Sorry, man. I'll take a punch for him. You know what I mean?
I'm glad I look young, man.
I got gray hairs up the yang, man. It's hard to see in the video, but
mine are too. But I got several years on you.
Now I got to start losing weight to not look so old. So. but plus, yeah. So, but one of the big things. How much time we got, Gil?
You're good. We got a little bit.
One of the big things, man, about like that grind and like you know just coming up or whatever, is I can't tell you the amount of people. I feel like they see a pebble on the road and they're like, there's a pebble on the road. I can't walk over it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And those are people. Yeah. I just want to strangle them. And it's like, I've had to get through some fucking mountains on the road just to get where I'm at. And, I love the 10,000 hour example where it talks about, putting your 10,000 hours in. That's how you get where you got to be. And I talked about the confidence issue that I had and, just being insecure about how do I lead these grown ass men that are wiser, older, and better than me? How do I lead them? And how do I lead them well? How do I make sure that, how do I gain their respect? That was a big problem for me in the beginning as well. Just being a young guy and the problems that you,
sure,
that you take. But I would say, like, to the people listening or whatever, if you have that question of want to take the leap, or you're looking at your disadvantages of why you don't want to go out there and start your own thing. Obviously, Gil said, don't just go out there and start your own thing because, you want the money. But if you want to create like a culture that you actually want to be around, you can't find a good place. I think that's a hell of a reason to get started,
or opportunity. Like you made a comment to me. Yeah. You said most people that leave a company to go to another, if they're leaving for opportunity, then they're leaving for the right reasons. If you get the guy that's just copping companies, if they were a good tech and they work someplace and there wasn't an issue and they're just leaving because they just want a better opportunity in life, when can you ever down somebody for just wanting a better opportunity?
I call that pulled or pushed. They're either pulled to something greater or they're pushed out the door to something else. And you want people to join your team who are being pulled by something greater. You don't want them. They didn't just because they got kicked out of their last. You got a ghost there.
One of my dad's favorite sayings. My dad's favorite saying: "It's easier to pull than to push." You ever try to push a rope? I'm like, all right, dog. I'll pull the tractor around the house. But yeah, it's looking at that. It's looking at that disadvantage and turning it into an advantage. And I learned that by doing like some church stuff. But Buddy Hields, first round pick in the NBA, 2016. They showed a picture of his hoop growing up. It was like, it was a milk crate. And then it's like, oh yeah, you hear about that? He had to shoot in a milk crate. No wonder he can shoot, baskets now, whatever, But you take a look at the picture and it's like, oh wow, I sent it to you guys on the email. You look at the picture, it's like the milk crate, and then he's got like this 2x4 as the pole, and then he had the find anchor to hold the 2x4. And oh, by the way, it's behind a crack house, and the piece of plywood is not even shaped correctly, and it's old. Those are all the obstacles. The obstacle wasn't, he had to shoot in the hoop. He had to put that whole hoop together, and that's kind of what it is: starting your own business and trying to figure that out. So I always look at that when you're looking at the advantage versus disadvantage. Like, don't look at you being young as disadvantage, looking at it as an advantage on the, and whatever advantage you want to look at in your own situation.
You got more energy. I can tell you that.
Well, plus, and that's one of the things that sold me is because, for one, talking to Ryan and finding out that he had the same mindset like I had as far as how he wanted to treat his people. As being somebody who's been in this industry for a long time, I've busted my ass, and, I never really needed attaboys, but, I was getting to the point in my career where being appreciated, it felt good. You know what I mean? So that part, and then the fact that he was younger than me, I was like, you know what? I'll be retired before he ever decides to stop doing this. You know what I mean? Like, coming from somebody older than me, that one of my worst fears was, I'm going to give this person the best years of my life and they're going to sell the business, and I'm going to come and the doors are locked one day, and, I'm staring at my dick in my hand. What the fuck do I do now? So I know some people are like, they think of someone who's younger and they think of not knowing something, or, they don't have as much time. As far as I'm concerned, who you are as a person, age is just a number. If somebody has a proper mindset, drive,
she's got to be 18.
Yeah, there's got to be grass on the field, and you got to play ball. But But yeah, it's the mindset. If somebody's a driven person, it doesn't matter their age. If you have, a 45-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 30, but they all have the same mindset as they're going to accomplish their goals and nobody's going to fucking stop them, that they're going to keep failing. And guess what? They're going to fucking succeed because they're not going to stop until they do. Those people are going to gravitate together. No matter what their age are. Age is just a number. It doesn't mean anything. I hate it when people think that, this person can't know something because they're not old enough. Don't be that fucking ignorant. That's a stupid fucking comment in my mind.
Yeah, one thing that I'll say is that first, here's a saying for you, Ryan, is the blessing is in the stressing. Because you can look back at those times when Dave didn't get a paycheck. And those are some of the best times. And you guys were growing mentally. The business was growing. Like those times is what shapes the person that you are today. And I can say that with myself 100%. And Gil can say that with himself. Those times, those times where he was fucked up and doing stupid shit, like, he's the man he is today because of that. And because he survived that and went through that and came out the other side and got his shit together. Like that's the way with our business and the early stages of our business, our shit was all fucked up, didn't know what we were doing. But because of those times, because there was times where I had to collect a check on Friday, get it to the bank to deposit it. So I could cash the check for the guy. So I could write checks to the guys for that week's pay. And if I didn't get that check, if we didn't finish that job and get that check, like I didn't have enough money in the bank to cover their paychecks.
What did you say? It was stress is what?
The blessing is in the stressing.
The blessing, blessing, stress.
Anytime we are like no pressure, no diamond.
Yeah. More cushion for the pushing.
Sometimes it takes that pressure to become the person that you need to become to come out on the other side of it.
That's Paul's favorite saying. Our best service tech.
What, more cushion for the pushing?
No, he says diamonds either make, or he said pressure makes diamonds or dust.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, and that's some Pasadena shit right there.
So when you're,
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if areas are nothing. Areas are a big thing here. Like, where are you from? Howard County. Like, I don't know if it's the same verbiage where y'all are from.
It's not like that here.
Yeah,
we used to fight as high schools.
It's where you from is like how you act and pretty much who you are and your label as a person, which whatever, it's kind of accurate, but whatever. We'll take it.
Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah. So pretty much it's, yeah, fuck you, motherfucker. That's a long, I can't even explain it, but fuck you. But to the people, we got to start closing this down now. But to all you people out there, the whole point of this podcast is if you want to be an owner, that's fine. And like me and Kelley have always said, we will never tell you no, but you need to have a plan in action and you cannot be afraid to fail. I don't care if you're a technician. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't give up on yourself so easily, because I see too many people who they think everything's going to be easy. And the first time they get smacked in the face, they fucking give up, And I'm going to ask you this. If you're walking down the street and somebody walks up and they punch you in the face, most of you are going to hit back. If you don't and you walk away, don't start your own business because you'll fail. I'm just going to be honest with you because you're probably a pussy. I mean, I'm just saying that's the truth. Most people, even if some big guy came and punched them in the face, even if they know they're going to get their ass kicked, they're going to punch back. So that's what I'm talking about. It's in your mentality. It's inside of you.
You got to have some fight. You got to have fight in you. Yeah.
Nothing in this fucking world worth having is going to be easy. Okay. And that's what you people have to, all of you out there have to realize. And every one of you has so many opportunities and some of them they right under your nose, kind of like, Just like this. And you guys don't even realize that it's happening. We all get opportunities and don't even realize that a chance of a lifetime is right in front of us. So yeah, we just want all of you guys to, some of you may be okay with whatever you are. You don't want any more. You don't want any less. I've said this numerous of times. I'm a firm believer. There's no such thing as staying in place. You're either going forwards or you're going backwards. Maybe you're going forwards at a slow pace, but you're still moving in the right direction. That's okay. Or you're moving slowly backwards, but there's no such thing as standing still. So summertime is coming and everybody's, you get busy in the summertime and then people start questioning, I don't like this trade anymore. Fuck this, man. It's too much work. It's too hard. Didn't see my family, yada, yada, yada. We'll talk about that on another podcast. But, or that's when everybody has the mentality, oh, fuck, man, all these side calls. I got all this side work coming in. I'm going to start my own business. Make sure that you're doing everything for the right reasons. You actually step back and think about something, talk to other people, get some of their advice, and be smart about the decisions you make for yourself. So, all right, we're going to close this thing out because, I got to get at the office early, this fucking slave driving boss. And then our office manager's got to leave for 2 hours to let her dog out. So I got to make sure I'm there early. Love you, Amanda.
She's going to kick your ass.
Yeah, she's going to fuck me up. I'm done.
She's never going to let her dog out. She's going to take it personally, too, when we're totally just joking.
Yeah, we are just joking. She has this little Rottweiler, dude. It's an awesome little dog. We're just fucking with her. But I'm going to go in there tomorrow about family. I'm like, fuck you, Aunt Marcia. You're not coming to Thanksgiving, bitch. What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Kelley said it was about family, so I called you Aunt Marcia. But Ryan, as always, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate, I always appreciate you coming on here. We'll have this be a thing that you come on every so often, just talk about different things. And I know a lot of people, I know we get off in rants when we start talking, but a lot of people have just asked about hearing your story about being a young business owner and stuff like that. And I think it's a good story to hear as far as what you've had to overcome to get to where you are now,
Yeah, it's no different from anybody else. You just got to put those hours in and be a great leader, and try to be a good leader. Let's just say that. So, hey, I appreciate you guys having me on here. And till next time.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Thanks for joining us. And you got to have big cojones to start at 22.
or you're just really fucking dumb.
Right, exactly.
You look back, you're like, oh, that's kind of working out.
But man, you're going to be so much farther ahead. Like by the time you get to be Gil's age. Gil
didn't like that. No. Gil didn't like that.
All right.
And that concludes this episode of I don't know what happened to the podcast. You just cut out. I don't know. I appreciate that, Kelley.
Yeah. Always fun, man. I would add to what Gil said, and if you're not growing, you're dying. I've said that several times, and it's like, if you're not feeling fulfilled for any reason, like you're just doing that money, you're getting up, doing the work thing, going home, doing the work thing, and you're just stuck in a rut, then like, what's something that you love to do? One of my guys loves to produce music. And there was there was an app that he wanted to get, for instance, and it would cost money. And for some reason, we deny ourselves of those things. Like we don't let ourselves just do that. And I'm telling you, the fulfillment, like I was able to help persuade him and influence him to go ahead and make that purchase. And I'm telling you, like he just lights up because he's learning and he's growing, and that's where fulfillment comes from. So whether it's something outside of work or something for your career, you got to be growing. You can't just be staying stuck and not doing shit. That and contribution. So give to others, even if it's knowledge. It doesn't matter what it is. Just try to give this, because anytime you're contributing, you're going to feel more fulfilled. I know I feel more fulfilled. I know both you guys feel more fulfilled right now because of where you're at, where you're seeing the company going. You're involved in your coworkers' lives. And that's fulfilling to know that you're making a difference and it's a positive one. And you're trying to help push them up to the next level. So growth and contribution, focus on those two things. I promise your life will change. So thanks for listening, guys. Love you guys. Go make money.
Yeah, man, I agree with everything both of these guys said. All of you out there, man, always keep chasing your dreams. Keep trying to push yourself, motivate yourself to be better at least one thing every day, every week, whether it's, a better father, a better husband, a better brother, a sister, whatever it is for you, a better manager, technician, etc. Keep driving yourself. Be a driven individual. This vehicle, HVAC, can take you very far in life. To be honest, it can take you as far as you want it to go. And a lot of people they don't get satisfied. Okay. Don't get satisfied. Don't get complacent. Keep driving yourself and things will always get better. All right. You guys know if you got to reach out and ask us questions, more than happy to answer them for you. Email us hvacuncensored@gmail.com. You can text the, neglected text line that I don't answer sometimes, but you can text that at 443-422-1000. That's 443-422-1000. We will always try to help you as much as possible. Don't forget to check out the new Facebook group until we figure out what's going with the old ones, man. We're always here to help you guys. Just know that we appreciate you. We don't know everything, but if there's anything that we know that we can help you guys, we always will. All right. Guys, remember, always stay safe out there. Always make it home the same way you left. We all got somebody to make it home to. All right. Always do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy. Me and Kelley have been talking on this podcast for almost 2 years now about ways to set yourself apart. There's no reason why you shouldn't be setting yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right. Guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Please keep downloading the podcast. Keep leaving those reviews. Stay safe out there. Summer's coming. All right. Make every call count. Make sure you wake up every day with a positive attitude moving forward. And that's about it, man. Thank you for Ryan for coming on. Appreciate you, brother. It's all HVAC Uncensored Nation. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Until next week, we'll talk to you mofos later. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.